What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Today is the big day for Grand Theft Auto 6. Like 13 some odd years in the making, it's finally getting its full reveal. Should be gameplay, the whole deal. But there was also an interview that went live yesterday with a bunch of interesting details about the game, especially just how intricate they're trying to make it, and we'll go over some of that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about Microsoft announcing, I'd say, a pretty big one-up over PlayStation with their Positron, which is their disc-to-digital program, and it seemed to confuse a lot of people, so we'll look at the details, make it as straightforward as possible with that. And we got new details on Mega Man Dual Override, as yes, there was full gameplay and other details, so we'll look at that and more. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. Guys, we're every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, going over the world of gaming news, trying to keep you up to date. So just know if you don't get a notification in the morning, there's probably a video still to check out, either here on YouTube or also on Spotify with video and audio. And we're gonna start today with that Xbox 25th anniversary translucent green system, the Xbox Series X, and I start to slow down there because we did get the pricing on it, and I mean, we can see over on the news.xbox.com website, it's coming in at $900. Now, this is a 1 terabyte system releasing November 13th. Pre-orders should be live by the time you're seeing this video, and they decided to at least package in a game. It's Halo Campaign Evolved. I mean, that's fitting for the anniversary of the launch of the Xbox brand, because what was there alongside of the old Xbox system, original, it was Halo Combat Evolved. This, though, is at least packaged in, so it's a strategy on their part to at least try to add some perceived value. They could be like, hey, technically the system is $850 because we're including a $50 game. I mean, look, the prices have gotten out of control for the Xbox or systems in general, so, I mean, it's, again, we've gone over it multiple times. I do like that the X button on the front lights up green. I am interested in the controller, the 25th anniversary translucent green controller. Same deal with that X actually lighting up green as well. That's a little more manageable, $80 on that one, and it is launching October 20th, so a few weeks before the system. It's hard to recommend at these prices currently, even though it is a big anniversary system. I think it looks cool. I think it would look a lot cooler if it was a few $100s cheaper. Also, Elden Ring is heading to the Switch 2 this week, and reviews went live yesterday. We can see this over on Metacritic, currently sitting at a 91. Not surprising for the game itself. I think it was more surprising for people because of the performance that they were seeing out of the game, and also, I'd say more the image quality. I mean, look, performance, it's better than Xbox One, so that's good. It's tough because this is a game where I would want to find the highest frame rate I can, and I know in that case you would go to PC, but when it comes to consoles, you look at the PS5 and the Xbox Series, that's going to test the 60 FPS mark much more than what the Switch 2 is, but the Switch 2, with portability, does have the convenience factor. That said, I'd say the image quality itself looks pretty good with the upscaling technology they have in play, but the frame rate is going to bounce around between 30 and 40 FPS from what was being shown. But it is the full Elden Ring Tarnished edition, the DLC, everything is there. So again, it's a great game. I understand why the Metacritic score is a 91. Just know what you're getting into. I would look up some videos around the frame rate. If you haven't played it before, I mean, you probably won't know any better, and it's going to be an awesome experience, frustrating experience, but one that you should stick with because it is incredibly rewarding. Oh, and as we get into some details for GTA 6, we got a little more clarification on this Netflix special that's going to air later today, and that has to do with creators and reacting and sharing and just overall going over even the news related to it. As we can see, now this was a response by Rockstar Games when they were advertising, of course, that extended look, saying, once Grand Theft Auto 6 and extended look debuts on Netflix, creators can share their reaction content across social and video platforms. But that was it. It still feels like some clarification is needed, because then questions rolled in about the idea of streaming it. I would not recommend doing it. Like, while it's going on, I wouldn't do the thing where you're like a small box off to the side and then it's all playing the same in front of you. One, there could be licensed music. Two, when even one, we'll say, part of the equation with Rockstar says it's okay, there could be many other companies that are involved with, again, music or production or Netflix, and they're not okay with it. So you could get, there's so many ways you could end up getting dinged for this, and it really damage your channel or your platform, wherever, whether it's on Twitch or YouTube or I guess even at this point X. So just keep that in mind. My recommendation would be let it play out, and then you can kind of go back, review, pull certain things, not play music, cut stuff up, and then kind of go over it with your reaction from there. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with GTA 6. Again, a lot of people are waiting, if nothing else, curiosity's sake, to see what exactly they show us on Netflix in that extended look. That'll be happening 3 p.m. Eastern time later today. But as all this was going on, of course, anticipation for not only that, but then the leaks that are going around right now online, there was an interview that dropped, and it's quite extensive, and maybe some of the production that has gone into this game for what has now amounted to nearly 13 years of development for it. Of course, going back to when GTA 5 first came out on the PS3 and the 360, apparently GTA 6 has been in development for nearly that long now. So it's pre-production. I mean, they got to draw a lot of stuff up, come up with some of the basic story beats. There's a lot that happens before you go into full-on production. They were also, of course, developing Red Dead Redemption 2. So it's not like they have been doing full production ever since GTA 5 came out, but they've at least been thinking, as you'd imagine, about GTA 6 since GTA 5 first released. Now, during this interview with Dazed Digital, there were a lot of little tidbits that were shared by Rockstar about this game. Jason is an ex-military drug runner. Lucia is a fighter, fresh out of prison, as we saw in that trailer, actually, just trying to plant the seeds, at least, for their relationship, how they meet, anything like that. And when you're going through the game, you can play as a couple, or you can go off independently, which makes sense. That's what we've been seeing in these leaks. Jason kind of just wandering the streets and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But while you're doing those missions, you can switch between characters. I mean, you could do that in GTA 5. I'm more curious. Remember GTA 5 when you would switch between a character when you're out in the open world? It would take some time. Like the loading, it was noticeable. But now we're dealing with solid state drives. I'm curious if there's a situation where you switch from one character to the other and it's like immediate. Maybe they have a fade to black and then you fade back in and it's less than a second. So that'll be something interesting to keep an eye on there. And so you can go out and get fast food, right? And it will affect your character's weight. You can exercise and you'll visibly build muscle. I'm thinking back to something like San Andreas right now, where you can just be like some massive person walking down the street because you just kept eating and eating, or you could be this massive buff character because you were going to the gym a lot. That is something that honestly, that blew me away back on the days of the PS2. So I'm curious to see how it's evolved then with GTA 6. Now, you also have other ways that it can affect your appearance or even behavior of a character. You can have lack of sleep. If you're on the run a lot, or they said extended benders, these can affect your appearance. I'm thinking of like bags under your eyes, just looking really disheveled. Rockstar has an entire studio focused on just NPCs in the world. Apparently, the NPC variety is being pushed heavily here, and this is a massive, massive focus for them. Try to have a very lived-in sort of world, right? And when we see these leaks that were going around, that was something people noticed heavily. Like on the beach, for example, there was one scene where there was just a ton of people, and they all looked very, very distinct, very different from each other. And I don't want to say it looked like real life, but it looked much more reflective of what you'd expect if you actually went on a beach when it was like middle of the afternoon or something. Now, they also have more than 50 real street artists who've contributed murals that are just all around town. And even the vehicle handling team, which has been a complaint for GTA games in the past, apparently includes actual race car drivers. So it seems like there was also a focus in, I guess, handling or how exactly you're driving around. And just the entire idea here is more reactive and grounded experience. Again, this is like the most expensive game ever made. It's projected to make the most money ever in gaming history, obviously at launch, but I think just over time. And this is all before we start talking about GTA Online, the next one, that is going to bring in massive amounts of money through shark cards or whatever they call them, the microtransactions in the game. So I think whatever we're about to see today is going to play into that completely. There's been discussion around the role-playing community and how that could become more involved with the next big online experience for Grand Theft Auto. But expectations are certainly high, so we'll see if they're able to deliver later on with that extended look. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft and their Positron program that is about to go live. This is their disc-to-digital setup, and this has caused a lot of confusion online. Like, I'm starting to realize when I see some of the conversation on social media, why there's a lot of yellow paint in some of these games. Like, hey, if they had yellow paint for this announcement, might have helped out some of the people on social media. But again, we'll go through it here a bit. Let's head over. Now, this was released over on our news.xbox.com website. And they say most Xbox One and Xbox Series X disc-based games support this new feature. Players can claim a digital entitlement by inserting a supported disc into an Xbox One or Xbox Series X console and launching the game. Once the entitlement is claimed, you can experience the benefits of digital, including Xbox Play Anywhere and Xbox Cloud Gaming, where supported, while your physical disc continues to work exactly as it always has. We're starting with thousands of titles, and we'll continue to add more over time. While not every title will be available at launch, this is an important step towards a future where players can have greater confidence that the games they buy remain with them for years to come. So here's the idea. Let's say you have an Xbox One system or an Xbox Series system. We'll say Xbox Series X. You have one of those. You pop a disc in that is part of this program. They say thousands of games. It will then add it as a digital entitlement to your account as in a digital game that you would have normally purchased off the store. As long as you have that physical game, even if it's up on the shelf, it'll remain working. If you give that disc to somebody else, they pop it in their system and then add the digital entitlement to their account, it'll be removed from your account as it just follows along with that disc. Think about if you buy a Blu-ray movie, and you know how sometimes it comes with a code for the digital version alongside of the disc-based version? That is a one-time use code. Imagine that code was just implanted in the disc, and every time, like if somebody else pops the disc in and they add then that code to their account, it removes it from yours. So it is a rolling or traveling digital code essentially for the digital version of the game. And it's a way for people who have built up a physical library to at least be able to bring it forward with Helix, because I don't think there's going to be a disc drive for Helix. I know. I'm just going to say that now. I'm going to set expectations. So if they do have one, it'll be shocking. I mean, Asher Sharma was asked, as you can see here. Now, this was in an interview with BBC reporter Laura Kress, saying, I know players love physical media, and I know there's a lot of benefits in digital media, and I want to make sure people have a choice. There are stacks of games on everybody's shelves. We're announcing the ability for players for thousands of titles with physical discs to be able to have a digital entitlement. We've long pioneered backwards compatibility, and so you'll continue to see that as we go forward in the generations. This next generation, we have to be thinking about efficiency and affordability alongside performance. So the issue we're about to run into, with Microsoft in particular, the Xbox ecosystem, the audience, they're very much digital. I mean, I'd be shocked if it was any more in favor of digital at 10%. I am actually thinking it's like 95.5. Like, honestly, based on the way that Microsoft's been moving the last couple of generations, pushing Game Pass, a subscription service that is fully digital, at times not having the game at all on the disc. If there is a disc print, think about how many times a game has come out and you see the logos for physical and there's no Xbox game. So I think in general, the audience there, especially with Xbox Play Anywhere, has already kind of skewed to digital completely, but this is a good program because it's only giving you more if you have physical games. Think about it this way. Let's say you have Dragon Quest III HD 2D and you buy it physically. You find it on Amazon. I saw it on there the other day for $24. All right. That's a pretty good deal. That's a great game. You pop it into your Xbox Series X. You add it as a digital entitlement to your account. It's an Xbox Play Anywhere title, which means you now have the PC version, so you can play it there. Technically, it'll work in the cloud if just by chance you want to play it and you only have access to internet connection but no system. You can do that. It's really cool. Xbox handheld, let's say you have a ROG Ally, it'll work there. That's the idea here. It is just adding more for your physical games. Unfortunately, though, I think it's also foreshadowing that there won't be a disc drive on Helix. The best case scenario, I think, because again, I wouldn't expect to see a disk drive, a slot load, or anything on the side of Helix when they show it off. The best case scenario is that because it is a Windows-dependent device, they go, hey, look, these Blu-ray drives are being produced by this manufacturer. We're partnering with them. They will create these disk drives that you plug in through USB, and that way you can do the disc-to-digital thing if you want with your physical games. That might be the best case scenario, but there you have it. At least for now, Positron is a thing. Disc to digital, they say, will be starting for Xbox insiders next week, and then they'll be rolling it out beyond that for just retail users. Next up, let's talk about Mega Man Dual Override, because we had entire gameplay that was shown, which of course we could go through and get some additional details for what I think is shaping up to be an awesome looking Mega Man game. I'm really excited for this because I think it also kind of signals Capcom getting a bit more serious, we'll say, with Mega Man, because it felt like they kind of had their attention drawn elsewhere as they were working to bring back other franchises and even building on things like Monster Hunter. I understand cash cow with that and Resident Evil. I like the idea of them maybe looking at Mega Man and saying, hey, you know what? I think we could build this one up. So we're starting with Mega Man Dual Override, and here's some gameplay that was shared. IGN had some, VGC had some, just kind of playing through these levels. And obviously we already talked about this, but Mega Man and Proto Man are both playable. I didn't see Proto Man gameplay at this time. All right, so I'll be curious to see when they reveal that or somebody gets some hands on with it. 8 Robot Masters though in the classic stage select setup, as you'd expect. They say there's multiple sub stages for each one. Maybe there's even like sub bosses at the end of each of these like individual stages, and then you fight the big bad Robot Master. I think it'd be kind of cool. They have bolts that you collect across stages. That's not new. We've seen this in previous Mega Man games, and I'm now thinking maybe there's a shop that you buy stuff in with these bolts, maybe different upgrades, or maybe custom chips, as there's an entire system that you can combine and equip these abilities that are chips. So like barrier, an emergency E-tank, auto charging. I'm curious how far exactly they push that overall with some of the abilities you can get. There's the override system. This they showed off in a few of the gameplay clips. It was like a temporary power-up, and afterwards Mega Man is weakened for a time. So they say it's kind of like a risk-reward system. So let's say you're fighting one of the big Robot Masters at the end. You're both down to a little bit of health. You activate override to do the finishing blow to him and win like that. I get that. That could be kind of cool in general. But hey, if you want to do the entire run with no chip support, you can, and it's kind of like a classic challenge, like how it would be back in the day. Rush Coil is also in, so good news there. I did like how when Mega Man was getting hit, there was battle damage, like he's getting really scuffed up, and at times kind of having that orange glow, almost like he's overheating or really struggling. I mean, the entire thing just looks really, really smooth in motion during gameplay. Just very excited for this one. No exact release date yet, so we're still waiting on that one. 2027. I'm hoping it's the first half of 2027, so we're fairly close to its release, and I'm hoping that Capcom really does have big plans for Mega Man going forward. I know it'd be cool to see Mega Man Legends get some kind of collection. I'm also thinking though about, Mega Man X. Like I'm seeing this on Ori Engine. I'm like, man, just think about what they could do with the different armor styles, the different power-ups, obviously the different Mavericks you'd be fighting, but you have that, Zero maybe involved. Like there's some cool stuff they could do with this Ori engine for something like Mega Man X, giving a very, very distinct look away from what we have right now with Mega Man. But for now, Dual Override, obviously on my radar, looking forward to it next year. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Star Wars Zero Company. Reviews went live yesterday. The game is actually out today, and I've been looking at this. Tactics games in general, I do have a lot of fun with, especially if it's something like, it's a Star Wars tactics game, and that can be kind of interesting to see which way they go with it. And I was a little surprised with the previews because it seemed like the story had higher production value than everyone was expecting, but with reviews live, you can see over on Metacritic, currently sitting at, this is on PC, an 86. That did have the most review scores. Gamers Heroes gave it a perfect score, saying Star Wars Zero Company is, simply put, the greatest tactics game in the galaxy. That's pretty good. Creating a story worthy of the Star Wars franchise, this tactics title delivers the very best in combat the genre has to offer, wrapping it up in a cinematic delivery of the highest order. Player 2 gave it a 91, saying despite some rough edges, manages to open up the turn-based tactics genre to new players, while at the same time giving fans of the genre exactly what they crave. If we go down to IGN, they gave it a 90, saying it is an excellent tactical game that does a fantastic job of slathering on the same cinematic look and feel we saw in Respawn Star Wars Jedi games, incorporating strong characters and a storyline that's refreshingly centered on non-Force users and a traditional or non-traditional villain. That was the thing I noticed. People were saying that they put a lot of emphasis on not necessarily being a Jedi and solving everything with a lightsaber. While that's very good for sales, I understand lightsabers do sell. It's still kind of interesting to see it, of course, really dive into other parts of the Star Wars universe that maybe you're not as used to seeing. Okay, so on the opposite end of the spectrum, Shack News gave it a 70, saying it's kind of a bummer because there's a fun tactical RPG here that manages to run a gamut from hardcore to friendly, thanks to an array of settings and well-designed mechanics that work in either direction. But man, is it ever bogged down in some of the most uninspired Star Wars themed storytelling and character work I've ever seen. Wow, okay. Well, for the most part, it seemed like people were pretty happy with Star Wars Zero Company. If you're a tactics fan and a Star Wars fan, you're probably already bought into this, and you might even be playing it right now, I don't know. But it's one that I was looking into. It's just there's so many games right now, and I'm about to start up Metal Gear Solid 4. That's going to take me some time to play, and then other games are releasing with Onimusha, so this might be one I come back to later in the year, but I definitely have it marked down on my list to play. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday. We're asking, do you have physical Xbox One or Xbox Series games? 57% say yes, 43% say no. There we go. Okay, so this will work for Xbox One and Xbox Series games, not Xbox 360 or original Xbox games, which is pretty unfortunate because those would be some of the titles I would like to add as entitlements. I have some of those games already that aren't like purchased digitally. And there are also some games that only work through the disc, and so Mortal Kombat, for example, Mortal Kombat 9. That's one that only works through the disc, and you have to pop it in, and then it'll come, or Spec Ops The Line, I think is another one. So that'd be kind of cool to be able to digitize those, but it seems like Microsoft started adding the unique identifier with the Xbox One generation. So the other ones, I just don't know if that's possible to do. People are also questioning if Sony could do something like this, but I don't know if they have unique identifiers for their discs because they did not go in the direction that Microsoft did back in 2013 with the Xbox One versus the PlayStation 4. I'm also curious about the idea of popping an Xbox Series disc into an Xbox One. Can you do that? Just digitize it, not play it, but just then add it as an entitlement, because that could actually breathe quite a bit of life into the old VCR model that you might have just in a closet somewhere. It would have some value then with a Blu-ray drive being able to at least digitize all these different games. I will be testing this more when it goes, when it's active, I guess, for Xbox Insiders, as I am one, and when that goes live, I'll check it out and report back from there. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Final Precursor David saying, for Stage Tour, they have a whole band kit on their website, not just a guitar. Okay, so I saw this with the drums, the guitar, and then I saw the microphone. So I'm getting flashbacks. I think they have one with dual guitars. So I guess guitar, bass, drums, microphone. I'm getting flashbacks to the Rock Band days. And I will tell you this, man, if you were around, what was that, 2008? If you were around then, man, it was something. Like, especially because at that time I was in college, and dude, college, Rock Band, a bunch of people getting together and like playing through the songs. It was a lot of, it was mostly about just hanging out with your friends and playing, obviously in a fake band, but it was still really fun. And the person who's singing is probably bad, and it was just like more karaoke if anything else. Apparently they also have a karaoke mode in Stage Tour. So I do like the attempt. I'm going to get it because I think it would be, in this case, going from the college days to the family days. I think it'd be a lot of fun for the family to just kind of hang out and play. And again, it coming out, I mean, December 10th. I think it makes sense for the holidays, even just like the family gatherings and stuff. It could be a really good time. I did see the prices. I mean, it's back then the Rock Band kit was pretty expensive. I think this was $300 for everything. So it's not cheap, but it is a full set of drums, guitars, and the whole thing. So I saw people excited. I saw people buying in. So I think they'll at least move some units there. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you wanted to see how Rockstar officially responded to all the GTA 6 leaks. I did a video looking at that, and I'll leave it right below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.